and experience the love which is hidden in that relationship. And it will free us from all these frustrating designations which we have. And in ISKCON, or in the Hare Krishna movement, we don't see any alternative. There is no alternative to spiritual development. Individually and as living entities on planet Earth, there is no alternative to spiritual development. Material development has been tried for millions of generations, and it hasn't gotten any more possible than it ever were. Planet Earth can't take whatever we are doing much longer anyway. So it's a chance. Srila Prabhupada, he gives a chance for us to actually understand our deeper identity. So take it to the maximum capacity you have. Even if you only read one verse of the Gita and then fall asleep because your concentration power is maybe not so used to read philosophy, it's a benefit. Even if you only chant one mantra of the Hare Krishna mantra, you are benefited. It removes the darkness of false identification. And actually, that's a free spirit, someone who's not trapped on the material platform. So stop here, to not bore you. You can't have that. Spiritual life should be a very ecstatic thing. So any comments, questions?
Gaura Krishna Prabhu, I would really like to thank you for a very, very nice discourse. I must say that you're being in India, I can feel the touch of Indian touch in you, as well as, although we are souls, we are not bodies, and also I can feel the touch of your Guru Maharaj, Lokanath Swami, both in your singing as well as in your discourse. Hari Bol to you and your and to ISKCON. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Gaura Krishna ki jai.
This is the version of Prabhupada. I cannot take. I didn't choose to go to India. I was forced. I was asked to come and I couldn't refuse. But it's true. I mean, India it's very beneficial for spiritual development because still the whole society is so Krishna conscious. So it's a nice. It helps. Other comments?
It's just that like this with the changes, that even though the soul is the same and the body is changing, but because the living entity, when you start to realize your soul, that you are soul, then it feels like you are changing because your soul, you uncover your soul. You know, the layer of ignorance.
Yeah.
It's away slowly.
Yeah, it's a rediscovery. Say like it is self-realization that you actually see some very powerful energy rise in the heart, that you can actually perceive that soul is there and that it is a very bright and beautiful energy, spiritual energy. That's true. That comes, I mean that's coming by practicing the yoga system of the Bhagavad Gita. That you actually become, you feel it. It's not some theoretical thing which just goes on in the mind, and as soon as you stop speaking, it's not perceivable. Actually, it's perceivable. You begin to actually understand a deeper level of energy in existence, and that is very inspiring. Because actually everything is made of spiritual energy. Even the pillar or the ceiling, everything material has a inherent spiritual potency which can actually be perceived by someone who is purified. You would see actually God in everything. So isn't that nice? I mean, are you not? Isn't that a nice realization?
So therefore, it feels like it is changing. the consciousness, but it is, of course, the consciousness is stagnant.
Yeah.
Because you are soul, but it just feels like you are.
You are
because
also.
you get the touch.
You're also possessing consciousness. Soul is possessing consciousness also. So you also experience change of consciousness. But you're still perceiving. Right? So I mean, even our level of perception of what we can perceive change. But you're still perceiving that change. Right? So that means even finer than consciousness practically is the soul. Yeah, so and these things, I mean, it's very obvious. I mean, such a thing as intelligence. You know, can you see intelligence? No, not really, right? I mean, we can see metal. Metal is kind of like gross thing. It can be perceived by our gross senses. But if I say that I have actually 5 kilograms of intelligence, oh yeah, maybe. Or, I mean, mind. I have a mind. I'm out of my mind. So, I mean, that energy is very difficult to perceive. We cannot perceive it. But, we are not questioning that it's existing. I mean, you look at a camera, right? I mean, is that a product of intelligence or not? It's a product of intelligence. So we can perceive, okay, such a thing as intelligence exists because of the symptom we can see. The same thing with the mind. Mind is generating feelings and thoughts. And we are feeling, so we can conclude that there is something of a higher nature. You can't see a feeling. You can't see a thought, but we know it's there. So there are finer things which exists, but we are just too conditioned or too gross to actually perceive it. And then, even finer than that is the spiritual realm. So just by tuning the intellectual and actually the heart, by tuning the heart, we can begin to perceive this underlying spiritual energy, and it is very powerful and happy energy. So we should get in contact with it because it will make us happy, and that's what we basically want. Right? So I think we have to stop here. Get on in the right. Yes, Prabhu?
Prabhu, like as you said, we are soul, and it's very easy to realize in this room. As soon as we are out of this room, material energy. Okay. So why is it so hard to get away or come near to the consciousness, Krishna consciousness?
Because the material energy is very heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I can give the example. One time I went to Himalaya, to the Himalaya mountains, and we went up, a little bit beyond the hotels. So we're just in the mountains, and there were some sadhus living there. And we spent a few days with them, and in the night, we slept in some caves. And the sadhus, they would come in the night with around, I don't know, maybe 15 kilos of blankets. And you were put under the blanket, and you didn't move. Because it was like, if you had to turn, it was heavy to shift yourself, right? And if you didn't have it, you would freeze to death, right? So in the same way, material energy is like that. It's a very heavy blanket. So you actually need to exercise. So if you exercise your spiritual muscles, at one point in time, you're just like, you can be free. So what we do is we exercise and we maybe get a little better or a little closer to connecting with spiritual energy. And then when we let go, we go back to some default covered, bone and flesh kind of like covering of the soul. And then we can try again, and slowly, actually you can lighten the soul. You lighten your perception, and you lighten your attachments, right? And ultimately you don't need a material body to exist. But now we think, I must have a material body, otherwise I will die. Right? But by slowly actually reviving the soul, it's much more powerful than matter. But because our spiritual strength now is quite weak from millions of births, where we are trying to embrace matter, to put matter everywhere in our consciousness, then it's, you might go like, go away. But it's kind of stuck. It's more like, an oil catastrophe. Right? I mean, it's kind of like sticky stuff. It's not so easy, right? But by quite simple practice of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and by, a few simple yoga rules, you will progress in your self-realization. Right? So don't be discouraged that we are in an advanced spiritual state. It's to be expected. But rejoice that there actually is, you are a spiritual being, so that can be, say, like rediscovered or resurrected if you want. So even small attempts will benefit you eternally. Even whatever small spiritual advancement you can make in this life will be with you in whatever future you have in another life. So don't despair, just come here and fly up a little bit. And then maybe you have to come down whenever you come to Linje 5 on Nørrebrogade. And it's rush hour and it's raining and it's autumn and it's like, right? But that spiritual realization will actually slowly empower you more and more and set you free from depression and all these lower black energies, which is very prevalent in life. So just go on the best you can. We have to stop. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah, sorry. Very sorry. For those of you who have, any type of question regarding spiritual life, Krishna, how can I, and how can I this, how can I that, then Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu from 6 to 7, he is a very expert and very well-versed monk who sits behind